Hello and welcome back to the Oceanic Challenge Series for 2019. This is week number 3. We're up to the last game of the day. I'm E-Jim. This is Max. I'm actually Bryce. Sorry, I'm Bryce. This is Max. Mammoth Academy versus Mprox. I think this is actually going to be a real good one.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game to end on. I mean, aside from the first game that we saw today, it's probably...
Oh, you think that's taken the cake so far?
Yeah. Well, in terms of matchups, like coming into it, in terms of hype, because you had the two 2-0 teams going at it.
Yeah.
This time, it's a 1-1 versus a 2-0, but it's a 1-1 that came up against one of those 3-0 teams we've seen before.
Because that's the thing. Like like looking at this matchup for me, I feel like both of these teams are like solid contenders in the OCS this year, right? Mammoth Academy certainly have much more of like the individual prowess. I look at a player like Redemps, who's like a Riven guy who wants to play like those sort of matchups, whereas Mprox may be a little bit more well-rounded. But as you mentioned it, like it was Legacy Genesis, who also have looked good, that handed Mammoth their only loss. And at this point of the season, it's sort of useful to look at the track record. You can be like, oh wow, like 2-0 versus 0-2. That has to say something. But when you kind of get like a little bit muddier, like you can kind of just throw it out the window because who you're playing against matters so much in the early weeks.
Yeah, definitely that. And I think this is going to be the first real challenge for Mprox in terms of going up against one of those tougher teams. So I'm just as well. So they've sort of
They've played Order. They've played AV.
Yep. And
I can respect that.
So this is going to be, I think. It'll be interesting to see if Mprox can rise to this challenge, because they're saying 2-0, so you'd have to think the momentum is on their side. But Mammoth is, I really like Mammoth House.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I also feel like this is one of those matches where neither of these teams are coming in with any substitutes. It's just going to be the same rosters we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks, and they kind of do play some sort of similar stuff. I mentioned Redemption, the Riven, the Aurelia wants to play that sort of stuff. Had a good game last week. On the other side, Berserker is like a Darius guy. He's happy to pick those sort of matchups up and play that sort of style. One member I do have to note in that their last week performance, Artek on the Thresh and Mprox, I was actually very impressed. This guy played incredibly well. Big Thresh player myself. I respect a brother for having a good game. And I was actually genuinely very impressed with the performance he showed.
Do you think it's going to be strong enough to warrant a ban, however? Because Thresh is normally a champion you see taken away.
Thresh is almost kind of like a nothing champion to ban.
Yeah.
He's so well-rounded that it's you're not really banning for any style or whatever. You can ban for comfort. That makes a lot of sense, especially on blue side, I think, which Mammoth are. Maybe they can go towards that one and just throw away a ban. It's much easier to throw things away on blue than red.
Yep. But at the same time, though, which support player in this day and age can't play Thresh? I feel like he is that quintessential support that almost everyone can play. So
he's the Lee Sin of the support role.
Exactly.
If you're a jungler and you're not playing Lee Sin, why do you play the game? Because you don't like fun. In the same way, if you're playing support and you don't play Thresh, why do you hate the game? You don't play, where is your fun? What are you doing? As it's not the Thresh, it's the Taric that actually gets banned.
No Sona Taric today. Yeah. That was our last chance, and Mammoth has taken it away.
Yeah, in the first 3, I feel like in the first 3 games today, at least in the first phase of bans, we didn't see a whole lot of Taric or Sona being banned away. So it was sort of the latter 3 games of the day that we have seen that prevalence rise up. That is a champion that has been first picked a whole bunch, though. Silas, got to hit the deck there from Mammoth Academy.
Yeah, we're not going to be seeing 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but we're also seeing Riven taken away as well.
Silas won all of those games?
No.
No.
Because Havoc fell short, despite having arguably the most impressive Silas.
Hyper. Yeah.
Hyper, not Havoc. Yeah, Hyper did.
Yeah, that's a bit of a roughie. Also, okay. Bad luck. A bunch of the other bans are going to come through. Is going to be the Darius to the hands of Berserker. We mentioned that one. Rise and Riven is going to be the target ban there for Redemps. Rise is the strong power pick. Do we see a Morgana ban? No, it's the Hecarim.
So we could be seeing... I mean, we've seen one first pick Morgana, I'm pretty sure, tonight. Will we see it again at the moment?
Morgana, Nautilus. Kai'Sa's been seen a bunch of priority, as has the Varus and things like that. So certainly a lot of options available. They can go for a support. You can just lock in a Galio, something fairly standard. There's really a lot of options open, and that's going to be exactly what they do.
Yeah, going for that Galio first. I'm a bit surprised because normally we've been seeing the Galio come after the Jarvan today so far. So Mammoth prioritizing that right away. I feel like Mprox might look to possibly get rid of either the Kai'Sa or the Jarvan here.
Yeah, because you're correct, and those two are the most prevalent pairings. Kai'Sa Galio is super strong because Kai'Sa's self-sufficient enough, but also if the Galio is successful, if you think about how a team fight functions, the Kai'Sa will be too. Because if she's getting dove, Galio gives you the out. You just zoom on the other side of the team fight, you press your R button, you just go flying. So they do deny that one. You mentioned they don't deny the Jarvan though, so this could be a Kevi Jarvan game if he chooses to go for it.
If he's choosing to go for it, it should be now. Otherwise, I would expect it to be banned away in the second rotation.
No way you're getting it 4 and 5.
Interesting to see the Aatrox be prioritized a bit as well. Aatrox, a bit of mediocre showing, I feel like, today.
Yeah, I'm very conscious, especially like in BO1s and especially this early into the season, to put a lot of stock in like the performance of like a champion, right? Because it has so much to do with like who's playing it in what matchup against what opponent. But like, yeah, has fared okay. Like I feel like Dragku had a pretty good performance. Like forgetting what it was played into earlier, but gonna be a bunch of champions that we're used to picked up.
Vayne, our first Vayne of the night, as well as Heavy on the Aurelia.
Yeah, I assume Kevy's not going to be handed the Aurelia.
Picking the Aurelia.
Probably most likely going to Redemption in the top lane.
Oh man, that jungle Aurelia, bringing it back from never.
Jungle Mundo, jungle Aurelia, let's get the garbage out of here. That would be a champion. We saw Alani actually have a very good game on that last week, as Paladin's going to have a crack.
With the Evelynn pickup. I'm curious to see how that one will come out. Evelynn's slowly been rising in popularity, it feels like, over the past few weeks or so.
It's sort of an interesting champion to take like before the last phase. Normally you see Evelynn's when they're locked in, it's like 5th pick, you've held your jungle pick for something weird because you like have this counter pick in mind, and it's more about the counter pick, right? Like you see a matchup where you can get away with Eve early and then start being impactful and be that nuisance. You can like attack the side lanes, which can be especially effective against a composition with like an Aurelia who wants to be doing that stuff in a side lane later, but they will have 2 opportunities to ban some answers, but they don't even opt in for it.
No, instead they're banning the Akali and the Fizz right now.
Fizz is a wild one.
Fizz is a wild one, especially when you don't really know which mid laner you're going to be running yet. That tells me they have something special in mind.
It tells me that like, they just don't want to play against Fizz, right? Like Leaf, obviously, Fizz player, they're just like, nah, let's just get that away. I don't want to play those matchups. I don't think many people are playing Fizz right now, so certainly wouldn't be practiced in anything they could lock in. Just removing the wild cards as much as possible, whereas on the other side of the coin, just a standard ban for the mid lane there. The Akali already benched, and Syndra taken away as well.
Mammoth definitely taking their times, I've noticed, throughout this champ. Like I'm assuming there's a lot of team communication. They're really thinking about their selections, and they'll be taking away the LeBlanc from Livid as well.
And you can see sort of a trend in the progression of their bans, right? Like you Silas, the Taric, you're just getting rid of the meta stuff. Then you target the Darius. Then you target the Assassins. You don't want that early game, like, snowballing stuff. They want to play, like, a standard game. They lock in a Vayne. Maybe they want to take it a little bit later, get a beefy frontline with the Galio, and does make a lot of sense. I like that pickup. Artec, very good performance. Can he repeat it for week number 3?
The Artec Thresh is back, this time paired with the Kaisa, so I'm excited to see how this one will go down.
Yeah, certainly could be a volatile lane. Thresh, potentially very good into Vayne, potentially very bad into Galio lane. Outside of that one, does fare a lot better. The Lantern versus the ulti. You will take a W for R trade every day of the week, and if you're kind of on top of things, Artec is the kind of guy, I think last week he just rushed the Mobies, then was zooming around the map, so makes a lot of sense to try and impact things elsewhere early, especially when you have something like the Evelynn.
And this time it's a Vlad being taken by Mammoth Academy. Was talking about that Jarvan before. It's the last chance to see it. Jungle's still available to be taken.
Actually, interesting that they haven't just kind of like insta-locked that one, right? Obviously having something else in mind. Maybe it's sort of like the bait and switch. Paladin is like, okay, like, I know you want to take that Jarvan. We're not going to ban it, and I'm happy to take the Eve matchup into the Jarvan, and they're sort of thinking about it. And that is a very nice pick. I like that a lot. Does like give them access to some form of engage. Rek'Sai can burrow in, be like the first layer to that second layer of Galio Vladimir, but also the Tremor Sense is especially effective against Eve. You can't see Eve with vision, right? Like she has to be close enough, but you can see her with Tremor Sense. So you don't need wards. Like the pinks aren't going to be there. You don't need the pink wards. You can actually just kind of, I don't know, how do they work? Like feel, can Rek'Sai like feel where Eve is?
Have you ever seen the movie Tremors?
Are there like big worms coming out of the ground?
Yeah, they're the big worms that sense the vibrations from the footsteps. So I kind of always had it's Tremor Sense, so that's what's going on.
I think it's... I feel like you're right, and that is literally the reference that the champion was designed
straight up, boom, Tremor Sense.
Okay. I like that a lot. Renekton was the last lock-in, so we're going to see another Renekton performance. Unfortunately, last game didn't work out. Can Berserker make it work this time?
It was an interlocked Renekton as well, so clearly he has been wanting to take that champion from the moment the Aurelia was locked in. It's like, nah, I'm taking that. Taking the Crocodile to the top lane.
Yeah. So that does mean we're going to get a mid Vladimir, which is not something we see a whole lot of, but I feel like this top 2v2 can be incredibly volatile. Eve Renekton, if that gets rolling, sounds incredibly difficult for an Aurelia to deal with. So we'll be keenly tracking sort of what happens towards the top side of the map early throughout this game.
I'm also very curious, actually, for this mid lane matchup as well. I was expecting it to be the Aurelia into that Aatrox, but I've never seen the Vlad taken mid into Aatrox instead.
Yeah. Because I feel like Aatrox Vlad is a very standard top matchup.
Yes.
Aatrox mid you haven't seen for a very long time. There was that meta where it came in and started taking like jungle camps and started the jungle item, and then you just take off raptors and you would just start like zooming ahead in XP, and the fact that you could take those raptors meant that you were like playable in the mid lane. That was kind of the second phase. He was kind of just literally OP before that point and was playable everywhere, but has not been seen in the mid lane too much recently. So interested to see this one come back, but Lived has had some fairly good performances so far in the OCS for 2019, so definitely expect him to be comfortable in this matchup.
So we are heading into it right now. Summoner's Rift, it is Game 6, our final game today of Week 3 of the OCS. Mammoth versus Emprox. Mammoth grouping as 3 right now. They seem to have a bit more control over the river. At this stage, Paladin not going to fall to the same trap that we've seen before. He should be safe. Spotting out 3 members, actually.
Yeah. So. No real kill potential here for Mammoth. Like, the level 1 between these 3 champions just sucks. It's just awful. But they just want to get vision of where the Eve is starting. So I'm surprised they didn't continue pushing. Maybe a little bit afraid of a rotation there from the Aatrox from the Thresh that they didn't have vision of. But they wanted to see her starting camps because at a certain point, like, Eve is hard to track, right? Like, she doesn't get that stealth until she hits that level 6 mark, but she really shouldn't be getting ganks off before that point, whereas a Rek'Sai realistically can. They just kind of want to track Paladin and what he's doing early, and they will be correct in their assumptions if they continue to assume he was standing on top side, so he's going to start top side.
Actually a bit confused. Paladin opted to back and I believe switched from a vision trick into a sweeping lens. So a late change of plans coming out there.
Well, becoming more and more standard really in 2019. Does drop that ward, so he places his trinket, goes back and buys the sweeper so that he can clear that vision out a little bit later, prizing the vision denial more than the vision from himself, which honestly he's playing Eve. That makes a lot of sense. You want that mobility around the map and to have access, so there's something unsurprising here.
That's connecting right away onto Miasma, who has to try and tumble away already. So early lane pressure going in favor of Emprox to start this game off.
And that is just a very interesting start. Not a lot of Threshers start with a death sentence. More towards the Flay is just more useful, gives you extra AD on your auto attack and lower cooldown and just ultimately less risky, but sees the opportunity, starts straight up with a hook and gets rewarded for it.
Livid as well, stepping quite aggressive against Rysand, hitting that level 2 before the Vladimir, so Emprox playing very forward to start this game off.
Certainly is the case. Able to get access to the wave earlier, more wave clear than a Vladimir, so you kind of expect Lived to be able to push this wave in the early levels. Has to worry about the Rek'Sai, but given the vision, actually in the dot push will spot Rek'Sai out rather, so pings go down on top of his head. They know exactly where Kevy is.
That they do, and Paladin is roaming around a similar area. This could be a little tricky for Kevy right now. A lot of pings going down. They're trying to almost collapse on him. Mamba almost looking for a bit. Says,
exactly where everyone is.
But he doesn't connect onto the Kai'Sa. Instead, they're going onto Arctic. Instead, Deathsentence trying to drag him back. Kevy has to flash out defensively. Ignite dropped onto Arctic as well, as Isles is taking a bit of the return damage, trying to walk away. In the end, no one will go down. A lot of summoners burn, though.
Yeah, heal from the Vayne and flash from the Rek'Sai as well. And you can see those summoners matched on the other side from the bottom lane of Emprox. Interesting where Paladin actually went. Before that fight, they knew the Rek'Sai was in the area. Kevy knew exactly where the Eve was, so pulls the trigger at the right time, finds themselves an engage, and they do win the summoner trade in the end, probably. They share the load across 3 rather than the 2, but Eve was in the area. If he was just a little bit closer, a little bit more committed to the fight, then that could have been a flash forward. You know, Artek lands the death sentence as Rek'Sai's on almost 2 hits from death. It could have been a completely different story, but does ultimately just back away, get his blue buff, and things trend back to normalcy.
It is still a flash burned onto Artek with no flash actually burned to the bot side of Mammoth as well. So it does open up the possibility of another gank on that side of the map. Artek is the one who might be in trouble, but Kevy is on the top side of the map instead.
Yeah, but like you saw Kevy's path, right? The pings were coming down. He wanted to dive through that fat wall that only Rek'Sai can hold that.
Lived as well, and he will get an easy first blood right there. The damage plus the ignite was just too much.
That's 2 ganks before 4 minutes that have ultimately been successful at this stage. Picks on the Aatrox, and that's a big wave to be crashing into his turret. It's not a top laner with the TP as well, so we'll lose access to all of that CS. Paladin just going to pick that one up as much as possible. Not really where the Eve wants to be at this point of the game, but somebody has to farm it.
Yeah, at least it is not getting wasted to that death laser coming out of the tower. But just not a very good start for Emprox in terms of the mid lane. But that said, Rysan's actually in a little bit of trouble. But Kevy is waiting to re-engage. And as they group together, it should be a double knockup. Forces the flash out of Paladin, who's trying to run down the tower. He actually may escape. Kevy trying to take as much damage from Lived as possible. Doesn't let him get back to Rysan. So in the end, no one will die. But another flash burn, this time out of Paladin.
And Kevy's just had such a big impact on the map already. We look at top for the first time this game. Not much is happening between the two, but this is a Rek'Sai that successfully ganked bottom lane, successfully ganked mid twice, burns the jungle flash. They get that first blood. This is the Rek'Sai answer to the Eve, already paying off by 5 minutes.
Kevy is playing very, very confidently at this stage, and now he's starting to come sort of, he's on the bot side of the map. I don't think there will be a bot side gank with how far pushed up Mammoth is at the moment, but it still will be interesting to follow that pathing if he can get that gank onto Artak where the flash is down.
Yeah, because that's the thing, like Galio, that is really like his one big window, right? Like you get the W, you taunt that one up, you flash forward, and Thresh, incredibly squishy, goes for the coin, has the aftershock, but if you're getting CC'd, there's not really many opportunities to proc that one, so certainly is in a precarious position should this wave push out. Not going to be the case just as of yet, but I certainly do have control right now.
I really feel as if Emprox just can't push that lane out. With how all over the map Kevy has been, they can't really afford to risk it. There's no wards on the bot side of the map as we're still too early into this game to start establishing that clear vision.
Could be the case. Kind of depends on where the jungles are tracking. Like blue buff is got to be the spawn, and you can see or like glean a lot of information when like the mid lane is going to pick that one up. You know it was probably handed off, and you can have some time, some respite to go and like push out your wave, reset, get the bounce, get some vision, kind of open things up for yourself. But
yeah, it's still just not there. It seems junglers are, support is pathing towards the jungle. Should be able to catch Paladin taking down that scuttle. So they're able to keep tracking that Evelynn at a critical time as she is hitting level 6 just now.
Yeah. Spotting her right now is actually super important. Like, red buff is up and available. You see the ping immediately. This is a 1v1.
Ooh, this is interesting. Berserker's coming out on top of this one. Redemp's in a lot of trouble and will go down even after using the ultimate. A big win for Berserker.
Straight 1v1 solo kill. Berserker potentially looking to face check a Rek'Sai as well, but Kevy wants access to the red buff, but Redemp's, who was singing his praises, had a very good Aurelia game last week with the Renekton. Straight up solo kill proves too much.
That is a huge solo kill for a Berserker. And I really wish we could have seen how that one started, because I'm curious if Redemp's actually went for it, knowing that the Evelynn was on the bot side of the map, thinking I could take this 1v1.
Yeah, well, he would have known, right? Like, the Galio spotted out the Eve, and then she goes into bot side jungle. So you have about a 20-second window to play with before she can impact. Kevy, he's back in the mid lane once again.
And this is big trouble for Liv. Paladin is going to be there to try and provide the counter gank. However, here comes the rush. Kevy looking to get that kill onto Liv. However, he's running under the jungle. Miasma actually flashing over the wall, going to tumble as well. Condemn is the only ability left to be used. Miasma, one more auto will do it. Has to use heal for that speed move and gets the auto off. So that'll be Miasma picking up a kill.
Yeah, the Aatrox unfortunately runs straight towards his jungler, but the enemy bottom lane is there as well. So Miasma picks that one up, as you mentioned. Burns both flash and heal for it, so not for naught, the trade is there, but eventually the Aatrox falls down once more. I was going to say, like, the 2v2, like, Kevy goes in for the ulti, whilst Aatrox is still in that invulnerable state, can't die, will get the revive, and I'm like, wow, that is a commit, but knew his bottom lane was walking up, knew they had the fast track, and Evelynn ultimately has to kind of ulti over the wall to get himself out of that situation.
Pardon me for my ignorance then asking this question. So this is prior to the Aatrox rework where he has to get the kill in order to get the revive on the ultimate.
Oh, yeah?
Is it or isn't it? Because if it's post that, because at the moment Aatrox has to get the kill in order to get the revive if he goes down, in order to proc that.
Say that again?
Aatrox's ultimate.
Yeah.
In order to get the revive, if he dies, he needs to get the kill first.
Is that true?
Pretty sure.
Have I just not read patch notes?
I
mean, honestly, if that's a thing, I'm just a dumbass, but
I could be the one who's completely wrong here as well. We're just gonna...
I mean, someone in chat knows, but we can't see the chats. But like, I don't know.
I hope I'm the one who's wrong. I'll take the heat.
I mean, I don't care. I've definitely been wrong before. It's not the first time, but yeah, okay, that'd be...
Because that's been a big thing this MSI.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, all right. I'm just stupid. Sick. Sick. Wait, like... Really? Damn, okay. Interesting.
We'll follow that up after this game is over then, as we're going to continue here right now. A bit of the siege being set up by Mammoth. Paladin actually has kind of made his way up, and I don't think he's known. Already positioning himself behind Miasma a bit, as well as Isles. They are none the wiser as judged by their positioning. Artec, if he connects with this Death Sentence, there could be some trouble.
Oh,
the Flash Death Sentence is not able to connect. The Justice Punch pulling Isles back. A good little interaction right there for Mammoth, and they will avoid this.
I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say Isles is a literal genius there. Barely gets himself out of dodge that one. A very big commit there from Artec, and can't quite find it.
As we are waiting right now, Kevy actually stalking in the mid lane at the moment.
Okay. Aatrox unleashes his demonic form.
Kevy drops a Chilling Smite onto Artec, who could be in trouble. Here comes the heroic entrance and the teleport as well. But Artec should not be able to get out of this one. Kevy picks up that first kill. Paladin walks right into it, is able to take down Rysand, actually. Kevy going down to Paladin, who wants more, gets the double kill as well as Isles falls to this Evelyn.
Yeah.
Big plays for Emprox.
Emprox, they fire back. They get the 3-for-1 trade. It was Artec that fell down, but yeah, as you mentioned, a huge turnaround. The Mobies get them there. And that's going to be it. But back to my point, yes, it is actually, like, you are 100% correct. Aatrox unleashes his demonic form, fearing nearby enemy minions and gaining attack damage. Who really cares? Increase healing, movement speed, yada yada. If he gets a takedown, this effect is extended and he revives upon taking lethal damage. There you go.
So that is why they had to rush down that Aatrox before someone on their own side went down.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. And actually, like, I'm thinking of so many moments. Like, obviously, I've just blanked on it. I'm thinking of so many moments where I'm just like, this really just sums it up. This is hugely impactful. Wow, okay. It is a takedown, so he doesn't have to get the kill.
Nope, it
does just have to get the assist, but does have to do something to get his revive. I like that. He's got to work for it, you know?
Yeah, he has to earn.
You've got to have a fulfilling life to then get, like, the extra life. Sure, otherwise you haven't proved you've earned it. Ooh.
Isles was that was a bit of a fake out lantern.
Yeah,
actually, no one was there.
Actually,
Artec
faked us out too, right?
A little bit of a poker face right there. However, Kevy shows up to help Isles, so they still should be able to secure the scuttle bug for Mammoth Academy. I like Emprox. They're definitely trying to think outside the box in this game.
I mean, like, that's not a new trick, but it's something that you just don't see often at all, right? And especially when your jungler's an Eve, if she hasn't shown on the map, there is no way that they, like, can call that bluff, right? Like, she is in fog 90% of the game. Even when she's, like, on vision, she's not on vision, literally invisible, so you kind of have options to play with right now. Artec is very far down the river, though, and he's looking to clear out some vision. Mammoth Academy did have access to the top turret, but I look and just trying to defend the vision instead of pushing further.
A little bit. Emprox is definitely trying to find a pick right now, sitting in that bush, and they may have found one. Down goes Rysand. That's another kill picked up for Paladin. 4th of the game in under 13 minutes.
This is a huge performance from the Eve, and the CC was just there. Rysand, he has flash, he has pull, and he has the belt, but just died in the CC, died in the charm, and no ability to counter that one. The vision is here, so Mammoth know exactly what's going on. Very nice.
Connected with the Death Sentence play as well. Does not connect with the boxes. Isles is looking for a way in, but Lived has gone to the backside. But he will just get blown up. Force the flash defensively, but a Kevy ultimate secures that kill. Teleport was delayed, actually. It was actually stopped on the bot side of the map, which kind of makes Mammoth in a bad situation. Paladin picks up yet another kill as Miasma is in the line of fire right now. Artec is going to be looking for either that play or that hook right now. Miasma is buying as much time as possible. Will not be able to escape as Mamba secures yet another kill. Emprox up 8-4, and they will be getting a Rift Herald to boot. Berserker stopping that teleport was huge.
Yeah, 100%. Didn't have that of his own, but is able to cancel Redemptor's access to the play.
Oh, Artec connecting with the Death Sentence as well. Rysand's in a lot of trouble. Is going to try and turn it back around. Artec's dropped the ignite and gets the kill, actually. Just enough damage to bring down this Thresh. And as a result, actually, Rift Herald will stay alive.
Yeah, that's
they
the thing.
saved Shelly.
Yes, we talked about it. Unless you're hugely winning, unless you're hugely losing, you don't get the Rift Herald, and as soon as the contest is there, everybody does just back away, but Emprox, they come up with the goods. It is just really hook after hook until they Thresh died at the back end of that play, and yeah, you hit the nail in the coffin there. Redempts TP's up, gets cancelled. Would have been a huge swing point there, but just wasn't there for Mammoth, and Emprox, they continue their gold lead here.
Still kudos to Rysand, though, for being able to get something back in what looked like a bad situation, getting hit with the Death Sentence. It looked like he was dead in the water, but was still able to burst back down that Thresh. So Mammoth definitely not out of this one yet. They're only about 2K gold down right now, and they're still in a strong position. Both junglers actually playing very well this game.
Yeah, their carries are in a fine position. Like, item to item, you're basically there, except for maybe topside, right? Aurelia is in a bigger hole than anyone else, but it is really all of the gold concentrated on this Eve. That's not the worst thing in the world. You do have a big beefy front line. Galio deals with it fairly well. Any stray CC can just ruin Paladin's life right now, and unless you can get like the perfect flank, unless you can come from the side, it is difficult to make things happen from an Evelyn's perspective. So it really is about opening things up, and this could be another opportunity.
Yeah, this could be another one of those perfect flanks right now. Miasma already down a third of his health as the Void Seeker did connect. Isles waiting in the bush for something to happen, but it doesn't appear it will be going through, at least not this time around. Both bot lane sides are now on the top. Take a look at the bomb half of the map as well. Berserker is able to get that tower, so I believe that is the first tower actually taken by Emprox.
First brick goes over to the Renekton, and I do actually like this play from Emprox, right? The fact that they're putting so much pressure on the bottom lane, which is now in the top lane, ironically, but they're putting the Eve, like, with the Thresh to start things off, is meaning that Kevy constantly has to, like, float to that play. He constantly has to pressure the fact that it can be a 3v3, that they don't just lose automatically. That has just opened up this island on the other side of the map. Black Cleaver, Tiamat, already completed here for the Renekton. He gets a solo turret and is just building out his lead. Yeah, so you normally kind of look at the Eve and their ability to attack the side lane, but they really don't even need to use that just yet, and they're just opening up multiple options.
As a Cloud Drake was just secured by Mammoth. Yet another Cloud Drake. Hey, at least the next one's not Cloud. It's Ocean, so it's not that much better. But it's not Cloud.
It's secondary garbage, but it's not complete garbage, so.
I like variety in my garbage, at least.
In your garbage? Okay.
You just gotta mix it up. Like, Ocean Drake can be recycling in this case.
Ocean Drake would be recycling. Yeah. Ocean Drake would be Unity. Infernal Drake is definitely Dauntless. What's it called?
Warband?
Yeah.
Warband, yeah. Well, and so Mountain is Order, as Rift Herald is going to be taken by Emprox.
Is Mountain Order? What's Order? Describe me Order again.
Order is Big Brain.
Big Brain. Is Mountain Big Brain? I feel like no dragons are Big Brain, but that's all right. Mid turret is going to be the contest here from Emprox, as Shelly's going to make short work of that one.
Yeah, Shelly should be able to bring it down quite easily. Just one little headbutt and down it goes. I'm curious to see if Emprox is going to continue to try and play bodyguard here. It does not appear to be the case, as Mammoth is going to step forward once more and take down the Rift Herald.
And that is a big deal. That mid turret means you just get to push in that little bit further, and especially for a composition with an Eve, opens up your opportunities hugely. Just looking to cancel some bases here is Mammoth Academy, but they're unfortunately a failure in that regard. But yeah, as I was saying, this just means Paladin has so much room to work with. He now gets a faster track into the enemy jungle. He has more avenues to kind of open up, and Eve sort of needs that space, weirdly enough. When she's chasing someone, she really is like a predator, where she like stalks someone. You don't just find someone immediately one-shot them. Maybe you do when you're working on a Luden's Echo and you're like 5 kills already in this game.
Looking for the one-shot on Redempts. Actually, there's that one-shot.
Yeah, maybe when you've got this many kills already, like you just literally blow someone out of the water. But a lot of that time, it is about like finding the person and then waiting for them to use their CC, start a camp, or use a summoner or something like that. In this case, actually, it's not the Luden, sorry, yeah, it is just going to be the Spellbinder. So, picks that one up, a 6th kill of the game, 600 gold shutdown in the hands of Paladin, but this is an Eve that is just on an absolute rampage.
Yeah, Paladin has been popping off in this one, and I would like to see Emprox continue to push this advantage, continue to push this lead. Baron will be up in about 2 minutes now, as once again, we're seeing a lot of pressure being rotated to the top side of the map, trying to play around Lived at this stage. Evelyn, though, is back in her own jungle, just collecting farm at this stage. Mammoth, in return, is trying to work to the mid lane, as Liv should be able to get his 2nd tower of the game.
Yeah, he's going to pick this one up, and feels very nice there. Just kind of opening up the map. This is really the 1-3-1 setup. Aatrox on the top side, the Renekton on the bottom side, and just freeing up Eve to kind of do what she wants.
As Berserker going in quite aggressive on Redempts right now, who's going to turn and ring it. Actually, they're just continuing to fight over the crutch.
Everyone else is here.
Paladin will be the first one to arrive, and with that stun following the flash, will be a very dead Aurelia. No follow-up fight actually falling through right now, so the only kill will get picked up by Berserker this time around. Artek stepping forward to clear some vision.
And that flash from the Aurelia was so unfortunately timed. The stun still lands from Renekton. It buffers through the blink there, and that allowed Paladin to walk around the corner. He just lands the easy skill shot into the charm, and the follow-up that was there, so you lose the summoner. You lose your life, you lose your turret, you kind of lose everything, and doesn't even have a Triforce in the hands of the.
Oh, that is a
yeah.
very large ultimate out of Kevy following that lantern as well. Artec with the big save.
Seeing Rek'Sai travel that distance is so funny.
That was the largest leap I have seen.
Like the animation of the leap is just kind of like replaying and replaying over and over. She makes up the distance. That was a maneuver there from Kevy. Didn't quite find it, but get a flash.
Actually, Kevy's probably a little grateful got out of that one alive after going that deep sort of unexpectedly, as Paladin's walking right into Kevy right now. Knows it's there on vision. The one shot nearly there. A little bit of a flash forward to help secure the kill. Paladin is godlike in this one.
Yeah, 7 kills, 0 deaths is absolutely popping off. And that's the jungler as well. No smite on the map here for Mammoth Academy as we ding that 20-minute mark. Smack bang on the number. And this is the Baron started up.
Yeah, Smite is available for Paladin, so it should be an easy pickup for Mprox unless Mammoth tries to do something almost crazy right now. They are setting up for it, but they have to get through Artec in order to get to this Baron, who's already so low. They are running out of time, and the Baron will go down. Meanwhile, Isles, though, was able to take down Artec, so it's a bit of a 4v4 situation.
Just walk away.
Mprox does not want to re-engage at this one as Redempt sort of stepping forward. They're not going to find any more re-engage, so they lose one, but it's still Baron on 4 members.
Yeah, the only thing that was available for Mammoth was the fight. Can we get there in time and get a team fight and possibly force them off? But Mprox just don't give it to him. Artec runs goalie there, sits in between interference, and yeah, you'll take that. A single death for 4 Barons picked up. That feels very good for Mprox fans.
Especially when that single death is their support. No offense, but that is, in this situation, probably not who you want on. That said, they will be giving over an Ocean Drake. Again, another small consolation prize for Mammoth. At least it's something, and another Ocean Drake will be coming back.
Yep, so happy to give that one over. The trade is hella worth there as they're just looking to opt in back for this 1-3-1. Now with Baron, it becomes infinitely harder to defend this for Mammoth as they're just going to push in all 3 lanes. They have extra minion damage to deal with. They're able to push in and kind of open up the map across the board. You can see Paladin is just kind of stalking his prey topside. Rek'Sai's around, and Tremor Sense will have spotted him, so they know exactly where the Eve is.
Still, Ryzen taken quite low just from Lived. This Aatrox doing work with that Black Cleaver completed as well as the Caulfield Hammer and Pickaxe. It's in a strong place right now. Mprox definitely trying to push their advantages with that Baron. They're sort of splitting in all 3 lanes at the moment, looking to work on that mid tower.
Yeah, certainly is the case. Looking to crack that one as much as possible. Paladin really is just kind of looking for an opportunity, and without it, it is kind of hard for this siege to happen, right? Mprox, they don't have the best turret hitting ability, right? Like, you're up against a Galio, unless you have multiple members there to shepherd and Boma up into auto-attack range and be able to take that one down. Like, you don't have the capacity to be able to kill that, so is fairly interesting. The 2 side lanes are pushing in, but here's an engage.
Yeah, that's Final Hour actually being used by Miasma, but not able to really find what they want right now. A very risky play, and as a result, they are losing a lot of map control. Berserker in the base, getting to work on that tower. He has to be careful, though, because the entirety of Mammoth is on their way there, but he will be able to get out clean.
Yeah, and this is the classic 1-3-1. You commit on one of those lanes, and the other 2 look for the punish. Liv pushes in topside. Berserker gets damage on that inhib turret in the mid lane. They just used the lantern to get themselves to safety. It was a commit there from Mammoth. They put all 5 members into the mid lane, and yeah, they're just ever so slowly getting punished elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, and they are still split up right now as the siege is continuing with this Baron. I have to give some credit to Mammoth as, a bit of a one-shot right there. Paladin going legendary as on the bot side of the map as well. There was a solo kill from Berserker with... this is not good. 2 members down. Mprox is looking to push in this space.
It's the top 1v1, the jungle 1v1, and they win both of them across the board. Mammoth now desperately trying to defend this. Flash may just come out, but Isles doesn't have access.
But Paladin is the one who's in trouble. Condemned into the wall. This could be an opening. A huge shutdown going over to Rysand.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of gold. Wants to be working on his second item. As we mentioned, once again, Lived is going to punish. He will get a turret, not an inhib, but the minions were actually enough to take the bottom one down, so... Mprox, yes, they lose a shutdown. They lose a couple of deaths here and there. They do get something for their trouble. Progressing this, they've broken the base in multiple areas and have an inhib as well.
And this gold lead has just been slowly growing further and further for Mprox at this stage of the game. Looking at an 8k gold lead at the moment, an exposed inhibitor on the bottom side of the map. At this stage, I'm expecting them to reset and sort of continue right where they left off. They have that exposed inhibitor at top that Mammoth has to defend. I expect the mid tower is the one that's going to be not long for this world because Mammoth is just going to be too spread out.
Yeah, certainly could be the case. They'll be playing 1-3-1 for a significantly long time here. Renekton's looking for a little bit of action, maybe just getting a red buff for his AD carry. Feels very nice for Mboma to be able to pick that one up.
Boba is still sitting on 2.5 items.
Yeah, actually he's going for the new build here on the Kai'Sa as well. Actually has the upgraded mana immune. I didn't see that until earlier, but kind of harkening back to an old school Kai'Sa build with a hybrid between the AP and the AD. Does have that on hit, is looking towards going towards the Nash's, so something we haven't seen a whole lot of in the past, but certainly new on the cards. They do just spot out the Eve here though. Paladin does show himself briefly. He
does show himself, but there's really no reaction coming out from Mammoth at this stage. Yes, they know where the Eve is, but they are still grouped at 5 at the moment, still trying to defend this tower as everyone from Mprox seems to be grouping up. They're looking to start to siege this mid tower once more, or perhaps they're going to rotate and continue to suffocate Mammoth's vision, clear out any of their jungle wards really that they can
It's
find.
likely to be that course of action until the next Baron, right? Like once again, like their comp isn't built to siege, it's built to split the map. And until you like have that set up, until you have all of the pressure, it's very difficult to actually execute. And without the Baron, it is just a little bit harder, right? So they do have double melee side lanes. It is a lot on Paladin to make something happen. And I'm interested to see what he's looking for on the bot side. He's kind of just stalking around this vein. Heal is there, but no flashes.
Here
he does
comes the play.
find
Paladin
it.
going aggressive, and that one shot is trying to back up, but the heroic Dangerous is going to buy enough shield, and with one last shot, Miasma gets a huge kill on the Paladin.
Yeah, that's 2 deaths in a row. Paladin may be confident. Slipping here is another engage.
Yeah, Delegate's happening right now. Mamba is actually the one who's in trouble, getting shut down by Ryzen. A double kill for this Vladimir as Artek is not long for the world immediately after, and just like that, Mammoth kind of buying themselves an opening into this game.
Yeah, Mprox definitely slipping here. That's 3 deaths with a monumental gold lead that is now closing. It was 10, now 8, now 4, I believe, between the two, or 6 rather. If I could count, that'd be very useful. But Baron is now spawning 20 seconds on the respawns, and they don't have a jungler, they don't have a bottom lane. This could be Mammoth's way back in.
This could be Mammoth's Baron for sure. The timing of those deaths could not be any worse for Mprox. That said, members of the red side are advancing forward right now. Lived and Berserker are in the area, but I'm curious if they're actually going to go for it. They're dropping the vision there. Isles is going to do quick work to cleaning it. Baron's actually taking a bit of time to go down, but it's still going down way too fast for Paladin in order to get there. Vayne has arrived. This Baron should go down. Liv is going to try something crazy right here. He's only going to throw an ability over the wall. That is a hope and a prayer that will not be answered. So Mammoth getting a huge Baron to get themselves back in this one.
And it's off the back of intentional play from Mprox, right? Mammoth didn't force the errors. It's Paladin looking for the 1v1. He's not attacking a side lane where he already has a member, and you look for the 2v1, you look for the pick off out of stealth. It's a straight up 1v1. Miasma hits him with the outplay, and he falls down. They get an engage off the other side. Mboma and Artek fall down. And look, I don't think Mammoth are going to win the game with this Baron, but this Baron will certainly do well to stabilize, bring them back in. They now get 3 minutes of respite where they just get to farm up, get to the next item. It's a Hex Drinker for the Vayne. It's a stopwatch. It's Vladimir getting towards the death cap. And these are certainly scary prospects for Mprox's side of the coin.
That said, Mprox was able to collect the Constellation Ocean Drake.
I feel like every dragon today has been like a consolation.
Yeah, there's been a lot of, we've lost this fight, but at least we can get this Cloud Drake.
Yeah, it feels
a lot of at least we can get this Cloud Drake. This one's been Ocean, but in the past it's just been a lot of those Cloud Drakes. So
we need a new emote. It feels butthole, man. It's just an extension of feels good, man.
Still, I mean, Mammoth, yes, they are able to get that Baron, and they are able to farm at least somewhat, but they still haven't been able to push back onto Mprox's side of the map. With that down inhibitor on the bot side, it really makes it hard. Paladin...
And yeah, this is the strength of that Rex side. He hasn't shown on vision, but they know exactly where he is, and if he keeps face-checking, this could be a Galio pick-off.
Arctic kind of sussed it out, I almost feel like. Destroys the blasting plant.
Oh, this is a brave call. Paladin actually going inside the base, and I don't think that, is he going to get spotted out? Redemp's had home guards, so...
Yeah, Redempt will be able to spot him because Paladin is actually going to go aggressive. But here comes all of Mammoth. They should be able to run him down. The taunt is there with help from a flash. Paladin goes down, and once again, Mammoth has 1 man up over Mprox.
And the trifecta of deaths in a row from Paladin have really spelled the downfall of this Mprox lineup. They've had such a dominant performance, but now it's a loss of a Baron. It's 3 deaths after the death cap picked up, and Mammoth Academy, despite the gold lead, despite the early game,
they're looking for a fight. Actually get the flash out of Artek just from that aggressive run through the jungle right now. there's still such a huge mountain to climb, though.
Yeah.
All towers still up for Mprox. They haven't taken a single one yet. They're still playing defensively, but it just seems like they're slowly chipping away back into this.
It's going to be that next Baron, right? This Baron stabilizes. They may get a turret for it, maybe they don't, but there is so much standing gold on the map, as you mentioned. If they get this game back to equilibrium and then get a single point ahead, if they win that Baron fight, they just burst into the lead. Like the comeback mechanics, they've been farming all of these waves. They get 6 turrets in the outer and inner ring, and all of a sudden that's like a 3,000 gold lead, a 3,000 gold swing out of absolutely nowhere. So Mammoth certainly down, certainly not out at this stage. Aurelia finding a little bit of a roughie getting back into this one, but certainly on the cards.
Miasma opting for the Hex Drinker, not too much of a surprise considering what Paladin has been able to do so far in this game.
Necessary.
Unfortunately, that does mean Mammoth will need a little bit more time before they really can roll these team fights through the Vayne. But
there's not the tankiest lineup in the hands of Mprox, right? And Vayne, like if she can free hit, like it's less about what you build towards. Once you get that Bork, once you get that Gwinsus, like your damage is incredible, right? You've hit that peak. And then if you can just stay alive, like being alive does more damage than any items you can build, right? Like if you get 5 auto attacks off with 6 items, but you're dead after that, who cares? But if you can just hit after hit, if you don't get that one shot from Paladin, then certainly will serve him well. So I like the defensive choice there from Miasma in the Hex Drinker, but as well as the stopwatch.
Exactly. I was just taking a look at that. 4 stopwatches right now on Mammoth.
Yeah.
They are prepared to fight, and they will be hard to kill compared to only 2 stopwatches coming out of Mprox. The next fight will definitely be a golden one, that is for sure, and I'm curious to see if Mammoth can keep this small momentum growing. At the moment, they are spotted out by the Vision Plant, so no hard engage coming out of Mprox just yet. The Death Push not quite successful. Both teams trying to posture almost around that Baron. They know the importance of it. It could lead to either Mammoth getting back in this game, getting some of those towers, or Mprox possibly ending the game. There are still 2 exposed inhibs. In fact, minions are currently hitting a bot inhib at the moment. Redemps does have teleport available, so it shouldn't be too much of a hassle to clear it out, but Mammoth has to be careful.
Sitting in their favorite bush once again is the bottom lane, as they're just trying to look for something on the bottom side. Eve now shepherding down here, kind of ghosting behind his top laner, but you can see Isles is playing this very smart. He's always in ulti range of the side lane that is under threat. Paladin has made this play a bunch of times. It's definitely expected by now for Mammoth. They don't have vision of the Eve, but they kind of expect him to be down there as they want to play through their Renekton. So open inhib does pose a threat. Renekton may just get some time alone with it right now as Aurelia actually goes back towards base, gets those home guards, and
I think the Renekton is sort of bait right now because they're trying to draw people into the Paladin
almost,
and
they
have taken the bait. They do know Paladin's around. Berserk actually has to flash out because there's too many members of Mammoth for Paladin to risk that engage, and he is going to leave that Crocodile to who his fate. Yes, the GA will be popped. Perhaps Paladin can look for a re-engage, but on the top side of the map, there is a lot of action going down. This inhibitor should go.
Can they get the inhib on the other side? The Galio still has ulti. Miasma's looking for the 1v3 here.
Arctic's actually getting quite low. Miasma doing a lot of damage, forcing out a bit of a flash. Miasma actually looking to run it down. Final hour has been used. Take a look at where Paladin is, though. He might be trying to bait him around. Redemp's coming up as well. Mammoth is looking for this fight. Kevy is looking at him up. Stops the Lantern. The heroic entrance will come as Livid actually takes down Kevy. So this could be huge for Mprox. Livid's kind of caught in no man's land, however, should fall despite going over the wall. Redempts picks up yet another kill. Arctic is the one who's looking for another death sentence. Goes wide right, unfortunately, as here comes a re-engage for Redempts. Gets 2 stuns, trying to get down. He gets down, but Paladin is there for the return kill. In the end, it is 3 for 3 across the map, so no real objectives will be taken, I would feel, just yet.
And after the fight, you feel like Kevy deserved more for the outplay. The flash knock up into the Lantern denies the kite back, and then Boma eventually does lose his life, but it is almost a negative trade there from Mammoth Academy, and Mprox are straight onto the Baron.
Yeah, Berserker just teleporting right back in. They're looking for that Baron. There is no vision available, so it means Isles and Miasma would have to go in blind. Arctic playing defense, however. They will get spotted out as Isles walks forward, and I believe Mprox will take that as a cue to back away.
So Baron certainly does a lot of damage when you don't have a tank there. Berserker's gone for a high damage build. GA plus the Shojin means he has health, but absolutely no armor to speak of. So as soon as they do get spotted, they don't want to risk it and do just back away. Everything does subside for the most part. This gold lead has sort of been fluctuating around the 4,000 to 6,000 mark for the last 10 minutes-ish of this game. Mprox have been in control the majority of the time, but it really feels like the progression is stalling. Mammoth are now equalizing these team fights. They're equalizing the picks on the side lane, and Paladin really can't make these picks stick. And unfortunately, it is just kind of spilling their way back into the game. Miasma is beginning to pop off in these fights, right? He's working on his 4th item. Maybe he goes towards the PD, has the safety there, the Hex Drinker and the stopwatch.
Yeah, I mean, it is just that, though. Like, they've been doing a great job stabilizing. The plays that were working for Mprox before, that got them those initial inhibs, did not work the second time around. Yes, Berserker was almost like that bait, and it dragged the team down as it death ends, connecting onto Kevy. Immediately has to pop the stopwatch as Redemption might be the next target. That said, Berserker goes in way too deep, charmed into a bad situation. Ryzen has that stopwatch, and it's Mprox on the retreat with the low health bars. Livid doing what he can, actually pops yet another stopwatch. This was that golden team fight. In the end, only one member goes down for Mprox.
Yeah, Ryzen, one-man army's the backline there, and Boma just barely gets himself over the wall and does not die to the Hemo Plague. Stopwatch is used across the board here as it's going to be Baron started up. Eve is literally going to an inhib. They're not looking to contest, they want the trade.
Yeah, they're going to be content to trade Baron for inhib. They must be thinking last time, you know, Baron was given over, they didn't really get anything from it because of that bot inhib going down. So again, they're going to try that play, but I'm not sure how correct that is. Inhib's taking a while to go down. Paladin is able to get it before the recalls.
So just looking to cancel a bit of the recalls. A couple of them do go through, but the inhib is already down. So Paladin gets the trade they opted in for. Potentially not the most worthwhile, but the option that they kind of forced into, right? They didn't have the capacity to force the fight. They didn't want to go for another play around that Baron, so they do opt in for the trade. As our gold lead just getting closer and closer now in the realm of 2,000. This has shrunk from almost 10, and Mammoth Academy just clawed their way back into this game so well.
Yeah, I mean, they have teleport available on Redemption as well, so they should be confident in actually starting to try and push with this Baron. Maybe look to get some of that standing gold still on the map. All towers are still there for Mprox. They have still yet to get anything, but instead they're kind of moving at 5, so they have a bit of time before the super minions on the bot side sort of crash into their base. They need to find either a pick or really get something going.
Yeah, it certainly is the case. First Baron was the stabilize, and second Baron is going to be the
play, and they may have found something. Again, it's Berserk. It's knocked up with the heroic entrance. Berserk has nowhere to go. He is taunted into his doom. Miasma picking up his 3rd kill of the game, and finally a tower falls in favor of Mammoth, and they are pushing 5 men strong.
And you said it straight, they need the pick, and that is going to be it. 50 seconds on the recall. This is the longest game of the day, 36 minutes already, and that's a long time to be without a top lane and no front line to speak of here. This inhib's just going to be going down for free.
Yeah, there's really no engage, it seems like, at the moment from Mprox. They need to find something and something fast. The inhib is finally answered on the top side of the match for that ball, and they're still looking to keep sieging at this end. Yeah, they might try to end. There's still 22 seconds on Berserker, and this is a big death sentence. Antek throwing everyone around right now, but they are diving onto the back line. Paladin goes down. Mamba will be next. It is Ryzen and Redemp's running wild on the back line. Liv cannot do too much as Ryzen gets the triple, takes down the Nexus Towers, and with that, Mammoth get a mammoth comeback and win this game.
And such a huge turnaround by all rights. Mprox had won that game.
Yeah.
10,000 gold lead, breaking the base. Eve is 7-0, and then it was 1 death, 2 death, 3 deaths there from Paladin.
Yeah,
that was a train wreck at the end. That was such a turnaround.
Yeah, those 3 deaths. It was the strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, you're out.
You're out, yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a solid performance, and you do have to credit Mammoth, right? That was a huge comeback. It was multiple areas, like Redemption on the Aurelia, having a mega roughy game, but like was never really out of it. But on the other side, like I feel like Kevy's Rex side did a bunch of work for them. The bottom lane really did well for Mammoth to kind of like shepherd like good things to happen. They were defending their base and defending all the opportunities Paladin was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, they were catching out. Like, they were trying to split them up, but even though they were split up, they were still finding those picks. They were still winning those skirmishes when it finally mattered. Like, when they could not afford to lose, they did not lose, and they were able to take it home.
Yeah, and also the way they took it home, right? Like, it wasn't like, okay, look, we got the first Baron to stabilize the game. The second one, they get a single pick, they take down Renekton, and he's off the map, and they're just like, all right, let's take the Nexus.
Yeah, let's just take it all the way. I mean, at that stage of the game, you're nearly 40 minutes in. Items are there. You can do that. Death timers are that long, as we saw.
Yeah.
And the person who struggled the most, actually, that game with Redemption.
Call him out.
No, Redemption, like on the Aurelia, was struggling. It was the one who gets to the back line and gets those critical kills to win that last.
True. Fair enough. Yeah. And it was a huge turnaround from Mammoth, and that will conclude all the games of the day. We will take a look at the results to see what happened. Kicking off the day, it was OCS El Clasico, and Legacy picked up the victory there. Bombers Academy take down Union from Queensland. UTS had a little bit of a roughie versus AV Academy. They pick up the victory. Gravitas pick up the victory over Order. Dire Cubs in another very strong performance from them. Very clean victory over QUT Tigers. And then Mammoth Academy take down that last turnaround win versus Mprox. And I think we're going to take a look at the schedule that is coming up next week. Actually, no, it's going to be the standings before we hit that point. So we're seeing a little bit more delineation between a lot of the teams, right? Like coming into the second week, there was a lot of 2-0s and a lot of 0-2s, but now you really do have that big top three.
Yeah, that big top three. And I mean, Dire Cubs, I feel like out of those three teams has looked the strongest so far.
Okay.
And I really want to see them actually go up against someone like Legacy or Gravitas to see if is it a case of them playing against possibly weaker opponents, or are they really that clean and that good?
Yeah, certainly could be the case. And then you have that next block, Chiefs, Mprox, and Mammoth Academy rounding out 2 wins, 1 loss. AV, Bombers, and UQ Union all picking up the single victory, 2 losses. And then unfortunately for the bottom end of the ladder, rounding out the last couple there, Order Academy, QUT Tigers, and UTS are struggling to find their first victory of the tournament so far.
I mean, there are still plenty of games to go, however. I mean, we're only about a third of the way through. Regular season, or just under it, I suppose. Because
11 weeks,
games.
so we're in week number 3.
Week 3, so still plenty of time for them to turn it around. Obviously, you want to get that top 6 to at least secure playoffs, and if you're sitting 0-3, you're not done yet, but it's time to start winning.
Yeah, certainly the case. You need to start picking things up, and we will take a look at some of the matchups that are going to be hitting us with next week. So it is UQ Union taking off the tough opponents in the Dire Cubs to kick off that day. Gravitas Academy and Legacy Genesis, so you get your wish there. That's going to be a 3-0 matchup across the board. AV versus Chiefs to kick us off then, and then Mprox, QUT Tigers, Mammoth Academy versus Order, and Bombers versus UTS to round off the rest of that day. But it's been a pleasure having you, Max. It was a very good time. I am Bryce. This is Max. This has been the OCS week number 3. See you guys next week. Same time, same place.